Does it fill you with a sense of growing dread? That slow, sinking feeling in your gut, watching a situation unfold that you just know is heading for a painful conclusion? Because right now, that's the unsettling reality for fans of the Montreal Canadiens, a franchise that has, by all accounts, done everything right in its meticulous rebuild. They should be riding a wave of pure, unadulterated optimism, yet they find themselves once again grappling with the same agonizing question that has shadowed them since last summer. What in the hockey heavens are we going to do with Patrick Laine? Is this grand experiment already a spectacular failure? Or are we simply witnessing another frustrating, almost inevitable chapter in the perplexing saga of a supremely gifted player who just can't seem to find his footing, his place, his consistent rhythm? The anxiety is real, folks, and it's only October. Before we plunge headfirst into the depths of the Laine dilemma, let's establish the crucial context that makes the situation so particularly vexing, so utterly confounding for everyone involved. The Montreal Canadiens aren't supposed to be dealing with these kinds of existential headaches right now. They're supposed to be celebrating, basking in the glow of a meticulously executed, brilliantly conceived rebuild. This is a franchise that, against all odds and defying many skeptics, executed one of the most efficient, intelligent transformations in recent NHL memory. A focused, 3-year metamorphosis that has turned a struggling, rudderless organization into one of the league's most electrifying young teams, brimming with potential and a clear, compelling identity. General Manager Kent Hughes deserves immense credit here. He has displayed a masterful combination of patience and aggression, stockpiling draft capital with surgical precision, and then watching those selections blossom into legitimate, impactful NHL talent. Last season's playoff appearance wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a Cinderella story. It was validation, undeniable proof that the foundation is solid, that the vision is working, that something genuinely special is being constructed in Montreal. Hughes hasn't been content to simply wait for his young core to develop organically. He's been proactive, strategically adding complementary pieces designed to accelerate the timeline, to push this team from promising to contender. Some of those moves have been brilliant, inspired even. And then there's Patrick Laine. When Montreal acquired Laine from Columbus last summer, the hockey world's reaction was, to put it mildly, complicated. On one hand, you're getting a player with one of the most lethal shots in the entire league, a pure sniper who can alter momentum with a single flick of his wrists, a power play specialist whose offensive ceiling is legitimately elite, a former second overall pick whose raw talent is undeniable. When Laine is dialed in, when everything's clicking, he's absolutely mesmerizing to watch, a game breaker in every sense of the word. On the other hand, there's a track record, the maddening inconsistency, the constant movement between organizations, the persistent, almost baffling inability to find a permanent home where his immense talent can flourish without the accompanying drama and disappointment. Laine's career has been a bewildering odyssey, a dizzying sequence of dazzling peaks followed immediately by perplexing valleys, stretches of brilliance interrupted by long periods of invisibility. It's the kind of pattern that makes general managers nervous, that keeps coaches up at night wondering how to unlock consistent elite performance from a player who seems allergic to it. And now, just months into his Montreal tenure, those familiar, ominous warning signs are flashing again. The whispers are starting. The trade speculation is building momentum, gaining an almost unstoppable force. Enter Caleb Kerna of Heavy Sports, who's just thrown a fascinating, almost surgical proposal into the mix. Send Laine back to Columbus in a straight 1-for-1 swap for 24-year-old forward Joachim Chinnikov. At first glance, it seems almost too straightforward, too simple, but dig beneath the surface and you'll find a proposal that addresses fundamental questions about identity, system compatibility, and the ruthless pragmatism required to build a legitimate championship contender. This trade proposal would be a big deal for both teams, Kerna stated, laying out his rationale with surgical precision. The Canadiens add a young winger who plays sound defensively, while the Blue Jackets can offer Laine a fresh start to facilitate a bounce-back season. Let's examine what Montreal will be getting in this deal, because Joachim Chinnikov represents something Canadiens desperately value: reliability, consistency, and a relentless work ethic. Chinnikov stands 6 feet 1 inch, weighs 203 pounds, and was Columbus's first-round selection, 21st overall, in the 2020 draft. Last season, he posted 15 points in 30 games while demonstrating exactly the kind of two-way reliability that makes Martin St. Louis's system function. He's not flashy. He won't dominate highlight reels with highlight reel dangles or 40-goal seasons, but he brings consistent effort, defensive responsibility, and a developing offensive game that could slot perfectly into Montreal's middle six forward group. He's the kind of player who makes everyone around him better, the connective tissue that holds a lineup together, the unsung hero who does all the little things right. For Columbus, meanwhile, this trade would be a calculated gamble, a bold bet on redemption. They'd be welcoming back a 6 feet 4 inches, 208 pounds forward who recorded 33 points in an injury-shortened 52-game campaign last season. They'd be gambling that familiar surroundings, a return to the team that drafted him, might finally unlock the elite potential that's been tantalizingly close but frustratingly out of reach. The timing of this trade proposal couldn't be more pointed, especially when you consider what just happened in Toronto. Laine is entering the fourth and final year of the 4-year, $34.8 million extension he signed with Columbus back in 2022. That an $8.7 million cap hit. A substantial investment in a player who's yet to consistently deliver on his immense promise. And his season-opening performance against the Maple Leafs? It was a disaster. Wednesday night against Toronto should have been Laine's opportunity to silence the doubters, to prove his value, to show Montreal exactly what they acquired. Instead, he found himself relegated to the fourth line, logging the second lowest ice time among all Canadiens forwards. The limited minutes were bad enough, but what he did with those minutes was worse. A -2 rating, an ill-timed first-period hooking penalty that disrupted momentum, and perhaps most damning for a player whose entire value proposition revolves around his shooting ability, just one shot on goal. One single shot. For a pure sniper earning nearly $9 million. That's not just disappointing, it's alarming. It's the kind of performance that accelerates trade conversations rather than silencing them. Here's the uncomfortable truth that's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Patrick Laine doesn't fit what Montreal is building. Martin St. Louis has cultivated a specific identity in Montreal, a high-tempo, defensively responsible system that demands complete buy-in from every single player. Speed, relentless effort, two-way accountability. These aren't optional characteristics. They are prerequisites for earning ice time. Laine is a specialist, an offensive weapon designed to find soft ice, get a shot off, and light the lamp. There's nothing inherently wrong with that approach. When it works, it's spectacular, but it requires the entire system to accommodate that style. It requires line mates to retrieve pucks, create space, and feed him in his sweet spots. Montreal isn't built that way anymore. They're not going to reconstruct their entire system around one player's strengths, especially when that player hasn't consistently delivered on his potential. Chinnikov, by contrast, embodies everything St. Louis values. Responsible defensive play, relentless work ethic, the ability to contribute across all three zones. He might not have Laine's offensive ceiling, but he has something potentially more valuable: reliability. Beyond the on-ice fit, there's a compelling financial argument for this trade. Moving Laine's $8.7 million cap hit would provide Kent Hughes with significant flexibility. That's breathing room to make deadline acquisitions, extend emerging young stars, or simply maintain maneuverability for future opportunities. In today's cap-constrained NHL, that flexibility is precious, a strategic asset that can make or break a team's championship aspirations. For Columbus, reacquiring Laine represents a calculated gamble. They're still deep in their rebuild, accumulating assets and developing their core. If Laine rediscovers his elite form, even temporarily, he becomes either a valuable offensive weapon for the future or a highly sought-after trade chip at the deadline for a contending team desperate for scoring. It's a low-risk, high-reward scenario for a team that can afford to take chances. And sometimes, just sometimes, a return to familiar surroundings can reignite a player's passion and performance, providing that elusive spark. So here we are, barely into the season, already having this conversation again. The Patrick Laine enigma continues to confound. He possesses every physical tool necessary to dominate at the NHL level. The size, the shot, the offensive instincts. Yet he's consistently struggled to find consistency, to establish a permanent home, to fulfill the enormous potential that made him a second overall selection. Is it coaching, system fit, the psychological weight of expectations? At this point, does it even matter? What matters is that Montreal is building something special, something that demands complete commitment to a specific identity. And if Laine can't or won't adapt to that demanding style, then his future, unfortunately, lies elsewhere. The dread comes from watching the same pattern repeat itself across multiple organizations, multiple systems, multiple opportunities. This proposed trade isn't flashy. It won't generate massive headlines or sell jerseys, but it might be exactly the kind of smart, pragmatic decision that separates good teams from championship contenders, recognizing when a talented player simply isn't the right fit, and having the courage to move on,